Have you ever hit a wall? A moment where you just think, this is impossible. We're all taught that reality is this fixed, concrete thing. But what if it's not? What if everything we call impossible is really just a problem of perspective? Today, we're going to explore how to become an architect of your own reality, how to actually engineer opportunity by understanding one fundamental principle. It's time to rewire that operating system.
Right here. This single word is the foundation of absolutely everything. Think of it like the operating system that runs your entire life. It's the ultimate cheat code for winning. So let's dive in, let's dissect that code and figure out how to rewrite it for ourselves. Okay, so first things first, we have to get a handle on the core mechanics here. We're going to start by understanding why reality isn't some fixed state, but it's actually a fluid concept, programmed entirely by the angle from which you decide to look at it. Check this out. This slide breaks down the mechanics of value perfectly. So, take a simple shirt. If you see it in a second-hand market like Okrika, it's just piled up with hundreds of others, right? So it's perceived as cheap. But now, take that exact same shirt, the same thread, same brand, and put it in a fancy, high-end boutique. You got perfect lighting, maybe some cool music playing. All of a sudden, its value just skyrockets. The shirt didn't change. Its reality did. Why? Because value isn't built into the object. It's a product of perception. It's all about the packaging.
In this principle, it goes way deeper than just stuff. It applies to our most fundamental ideas, like good versus evil. Think about it. From his perspective, Thanos saw himself as the savior, right? Doing a terrible but necessary thing. Batman and Superman, both were fighting for what they believed was right, but they saw each other as this massive threat. And all through history, one side's angels were always the other side's demons. So what's the takeaway? The good guy is just the one who tells the better story, the one who engineers the perception that wins.
So, if reality can be bet, how do we start shaping it? Well, the first step is to control what people actually see. And in today's world, that battleground is digital. It's online. In this world, attention is the only currency that really matters. And right now, we're going to learn how to mint it like a machine.
Look, engineering attention isn't luck. It's not some random event. It's a three-stage process. First, you need the stopping hook to just snap people out of that mindless scrolling. Then, you trap them in what's called a retention loop, which makes it psychologically painful to look away. And finally, you give them social ammunition. You make your content a tool they can actually use for their own social gain.
Listen, 80% of your reach dies in the first 3 seconds. The algorithm, it's a cold, unfeeling machine. So to beat it, you need a stopping hook. And this isn't some polite, hey, how are you? No. It's psychological cold water to the face. It's a rare sneaker hitting the concrete hard, a sudden shake of the camera, even a moment of pure silence. It's got to be a violent pattern interrupt designed to make the brain slam on the brakes and ask, whoa, what just happened?
Okay, so once you've stopped them, you got to hold them. And that's the job of the retention loop. You see, the human mind absolutely hates an unresolved story. It drives us crazy. So what you do is you open a loop. You show a locked box or a blurred-out headline, but you don't give the answer until the very last second. You're creating a mental itch that they simply have to scratch, and it forces them to watch all the way to the end just to get that sweet, sweet feeling of resolution.
And this is where you get really smart about it. You separate your strategy from the execution. You don't have to guess what works. You can actually use AI to automate the testing of dozens, even hundreds of different hooks, tracking retention with cold, hard data. You get to focus on the human psychology, the big picture strategy, while the machine does all the grunt work.
Now, why are we doing all this? Why engineer all this attention? What's the end game? Well, let's talk about the output of this machine. Real, sustainable wealth. And to build it, we first have to unlearn everything society has taught us about what it means to be rich. This right here, this is the man in the car paradox. It's this huge fundamental flaw in how we think. We buy these expensive things, hoping to earn the admiration of other people. But here's the secret. People don't admire us, they just admire the thing. They mentally put themselves in our position, in the car. The admiration completely bypasses us. So let's get this straight. Being rich is loud. It's all about spending your current income to show strangers what you've got. But wealth? Wealth is silent. It's invisible. It's the money you don't spend. It's the Ferrari you decided not to buy. It's the freedom to wake up in the morning and completely own your own time. Honestly, the fastest way to have less money is to spend it trying to look like you have a lot of it.
Now, this whole understanding of perception, what's real and what's just for show, it doesn't just apply to money.
Now, it applies to the invisible walls that society builds around us, the class structures we just accept without even thinking about it. And understanding this gives us the tools to start tearing them down.
Every society does this. They build these little boxes. In Nigeria, for instance, they call it the Naija box. These artificial lines drawn between boss and small boy, between a standard idea and a crazy one. We're taught from a young age that these walls are real, that they're made of concrete, but they aren't. They're built from absolutely nothing more than collective perception and rumors.
And believing in those walls, it has a direct mechanical effect on your life. It's a chain reaction. It all starts with perception. You see the world as segmented, full of roadblocks. This then limits your actions. You get timid, you don't take risks, you play it safe. And that leads directly to the final consequence. Your world stays exactly as small as you perceived it to be. But here's the thing, if you change that initial perception, the entire chain reaction changes right along with it.
All right, let's bring this all home. We're going to get to the final conclusion here, and we're going to completely dismantle the very idea of impossible using nothing more than simple logic and scale.
Truth is not some objective thing like gravity. It's a prism. Your reality depends entirely on where you're standing. Two people can look at the exact same event, see completely different things, and both of them can be right, from their own angle. There is no single fixed reality. There's just an infinite number of perspectives.
Okay, now let's throw some numbers at this. There are over 7 billion people on this planet. That means there are over 7 billion unique prisms, and every single one of them is constantly shifting its angle, creating new perceptions thousands of times over a lifetime.
So here's the bottom line. In an open system with over 7 billion constantly shifting variables, the idea of a 0% probability is, mathematically speaking, absurd. It's a statistical joke. Impossible is not a fact about the world. It is simply the geographic coordinate of someone else's limited perception. Their blindness doesn't mean the path isn't there.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. The next time you're facing a roadblock, something that just seems completely insurmountable, I want you to stop, and I want you to ask yourself, is that wall really made of concrete, or is it just a trick of the light? Is it just a product of the angle you happen to be standing at? Because if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.